Shit! What the fuck?
I guess it's that time of the year again. So, FNaF hoaxes, we all love them, especially the OG ones. Sparky the dog, Purple Guy Denimatronic, or people thinking Freddy Fazbear's was a real place you could visit. Some of these are nostalgic, creepy, or just plain schizophrenic. And today we're going to be ranking every single one of them. So let's not waste any time, let's get into it. Also, before I start, I want to preface that I'm only going to give a really brief summary of each one, since I want to cover a lot of these. So, no deep dives, no 15-minute breakdowns. This is going to be a compact hit list of the best and worst FNaF bullshit the internet ever cooked up. The tiers are simple. Goated, which is basically S. A, B, C, these are going to depend on the levels of relevance or madness, I guess. And F tier. I'm skipping D because nobody cares about D. But yeah, F is full-on brain rot, unemployed garbage that should have stayed in the drafts. Shadow BB. Man, I remember this one actually catching on for a bit. Supposedly, in the mobile port of FNaF 2, people said you could randomly see a full black version of Balloon Boy with glowing white eyes. Yeah, basically BB if he went full Shadow Freddy mode. The video that started it all dropped in early 2015, and the screenshots looked convincing if you were like 12 and desperate for new FNaF content. Of course, it was fake. There's no Shadow BB in any version of the game, but somehow people still bring it up like it's legit. C tier, so it's kind of mid, but it's also memorable, but still not iconic. Definitely one of those you had to be there hoaxes. Sparky the dog. This is the godfather of FNaF hoaxes. Like, if you were around when FNaF 1 dropped, you either saw the Tumblr post or heard about the creepy dog animatronic and the backstage camera. He was supposedly this messed up one-armed dog wearing overalls who just stared at you like he never attacked, just stood there broken and weird. And honestly, the Photoshop wasn't even that bad for 2014. Enough to make people believe there was some secret 6 animatronic Scott was hiding. Later, the creators came forward and admitted it was fake, but by then the myth had already spread like wildfire. What's wild is Sparky actually ended up in the FNaF movie. Not even kidding, there's a suit in the background, a diner named after him, the whole deal. So now this hoax is technically canon. The fandom literally willed him into existence. Goated. Easily one of the most iconic fake characters in FNaF history, and probably video game history too. Phantom Bonnie. This one had the whole fandom in a chokehold for a while. Supposedly, there was a secret Phantom Bonnie in FNaF 3 that would jump scare you if you clicked around the camera a certain way. There were tutorials online, fake gameplay, even that one infamous video by Epic Surfing Bids that proved he existed, which by the way, we'll be talking about Epic Surfing Bids a lot in this video. Design-wise, it was just Withered Bonnie with a burnt overlay, black sclera, white pupils, phantom texture slapped on, real DeviantArt core. And yeah, it looked believable enough for like 2015. But of course, none of it's in the game. No files, no triggers, no Easter egg. Just another community-made cryptid that somehow became a legend. To this day, Phantom Bonnie is still one of the most popular hoax animatronics ever made. So kinda wild to think about, not gonna lie. I think it's iconic, it fooled a lot of people, and the execution was just believable enough to work. It's a foundational FNaF hoax. Tater the Waiter Gator. Bro, what even is this one? Tater the Waiter Gator is one of those fake animatronics that just feel like someone made it up during a sugar crash at 3 a.m. He's this bright green alligator wearing a purple tie, supposedly based on Toy Bonnie's body with some weird cow-snouted head and sharp-ass teeth. And somehow, people claimed he was in FNaF 2 before the game even dropped. Look, I don't care how old this hoax is or if it predicted Monty somehow by pure accident. It's called Tater the Waiter Gator. The name alone drops it 2 tiers automatically. You can't even come back from that. I'm just gonna put it in F. This was never convincing, never scary back then. It looks like a rejected Chuck E. Cheese mascot, but like it is kind of funny. Still F though. Actually, let's make a separate tier for this atrocity. There we go. Toy Golden Freddy. Okay, this one was like the bootleg version of a bootleg. The rumor was that if you entered One Night 87 in the custom night, but specifically under Toy Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, and Marionette, you'd summon this weird golden variant of Toy Freddy. It was basically just Toy Freddy with a bad hue shift, jello fur, empty eye socket, and some like ugly purple and orange color combo. I don't know. Turns out it was just a mod, a really bad recolor mod that people try to pass off as a legit Easter egg. You think the fandom would know better by now, but hey, back in the day, anything jello with hollow eyes got slapped with the secret Denimatronic label. See, it's kind of funny and nostalgic in how low effort it was, but nobody was really buying this for long, so yeah. The box. Not to be confused with the box theories, by the way. What is this? So I didn't know about this hoax before like researching right now, and I guess this has something to do with the FNaF 3 hybrid hoax, if you know about that one. No, C tier. Gray Puppet. The Gray Puppet is a weird hoax because it seemed to be decently well known, yet not a lot of people talk about it nowadays. It was made in 2015, and just like Golden Toy Freddy, another popular hoax at the time, it was a simple recolor. This one was supposedly tied to the phrase "save me," which would glitch out of the game's audio when Gray Puppet appeared on screen. Of course, none of that's real. The video that started it all was made by Roxo1987, a guy known for pumping out fake FNaF stuff all the time. The model was just a recolor, but people ran with it like it had a deep purple guy connections or something. Some even claimed it was linked to Vinny from Five Nights at Candy's, which it wasn't. This one had just enough effort behind it to trick people for a second, but not enough to stick. It's like you're trying to make the puppet sadder, but like, you can't really do that. It's B tier, it's not iconic, but not trash either. It was pretty well made for the time, I guess. 666 Kitchen Cam. Okay, this was just stupid. The rumor was that if you typed 666 into the custom night settings of FNaF 1, the kitchen camera, the one that's always blacked out, would suddenly start working. Because, you know, evil number equals secret camera access. Real big brain logic. Obviously, it's fake. The kitchen has no camera feed in the files at all. It's not hidden, it's not unlockable, it just doesn't exist. People made this one up purely because they wanted something to happen when they typed in a scary number. I would give it an F, but due to its peak middle school myth energy, I'm giving it a B. Everyone back in the day wanted to see the kitchen, so yeah. Purple Guy Animatronic. FNaF 2. So this one was just everywhere. Like back in 2014, someone dropped a video claiming there was a secret animatronic version of William Afton in FNaF 2. Literally a purple slumped over figure in the office, sitting just like Golden Freddy. It only appeared for one frame, supposedly after a phone ringing sound. You know, it was classic bait. But let's be real, it was kind of just a bad Photoshop of Golden Freddy with a purple color overlay and some tweaked facial feature. No game files, no code, just pure fan-made BS. That said, this hoax was kind of a big deal. It wasn't just some side rumor, it blew up. Everyone was talking about it, and with how obsessed the community was with Purple Guy back then, this hit the perfect storm of believable but fake. Yeah, this is S tier. Yeah, it's fake, but it was well made, eerie, and believable enough to leave a mark. It's one of the more iconic hoaxes from that era, and low-key deserves to be up there with Sparky. Real Freddy Fazbear's Spooxa. This one's probably the most painfully persistent hoax of them all. The rumor that Freddy Fazbear's Spooxa is a real physical location you could visit, and that Scott based the game on it. This is stupid. People circulated a super blurry photo of some crusty restaurant with Freddy's edited onto the sign, and somehow people ate it up. Even now, you'll see TikToks milking this like, bro, it's not real. It was a bad Photoshop of a pizza joint that's probably gone by now. Hopefully not though, I don't know. The wildest part is that some of these locations from FNaF 1 that were supposedly tied to the actual like franchise are still around, and people go mass call them and visit them for clout. I'm gonna give it a C. It's a classic but dumb. It's kind of like the Bigfoot of FNaF, but the fact that people are going to this location for this drops it a tier or two. Nightmare Mangle fake images. So this one's kind of obscure. Before Nightmare Mangle was actually revealed by Scott, a few fan-made leaks started floating around, claiming to show her the sign early. They were clearly fake. They were super rough renders, weird proportions, nothing close to what we ended up getting in FNaF 4. The hoax never really took off though, like barely anyone remembers these images unless they were terminally online back then. This one's a C, but barely. Not offensive, just forgettable. But I do love Mangle, top 5 animatronic, so I'm gonna put it in C and not F, even though this one is pretty obscure. Nightmare JJ. This one popped up right before FNaF 4 Halloween edition dropped. And it was basically just fun with Balloon Boy, but with JJ instead. Supposedly, she'd sit in the chair, same as Nightmare BB, and a special minigame called Fun with JJ. Same model, just a quick recolor. It's classic hoax formula. It was made by Go Motion 100, who honestly had a whole era of dropping semi-convincing edits. And I'll give them this. It looked just good enough to pass as real for a week or two, especially with the way Scott was randomly tossing weird stuff into FNaF 4 at the time. But yeah, no files, no code, nothing in the game, just an image. Another what if we gender swapped a jump scare moment. So yeah, B tier, it's a mid tier hoax, didn't really change the fandom or anything, but it did catch some people off guard in 2015, and it does fit the vibe of FNaF 4. Cupcake blinking. Alright, so I remember people swore up and down that Chica's cupcake, you know, the little prop she holds in FNaF 1, would randomly blink at you. Not move, not talk, just blink. That's it. And this wasn't just some troll post, there were entire Reddit threads, sightings, and even theories linking it to the bite of 87 for whatever reason. There was no evidence, it's not in the game files, it's not an Easter egg, it's just one of those Mandela effect style hoaxes that people remembered seeing when they were half asleep on like night 4 or something. And honestly, the fact that this theory even lasted this long is kind of impressive. So I'm gonna give it a B. It's dumb and harmless, but at least it's got some staying power. Okay, the bite of 87 suspects. I'm grouping both of these together, Foxy and Mangle. But yeah, the bite of 87. The single line of dialogue that launched 1,000 conspiracy theories. Out of all the suspects in the animatronic lineup, 2 names constantly came up. Foxy and Mangle, and I guess Toy Bonnie too, and even I think Withered Chica, but these are the main 2, Foxy and Mangle. Foxy was an early fan favorite for the culprit. He's out of order, he's fast, and he runs straight at your face, you know? I think the theory even made it into the Freddy files. Then there's Mangle, because, you know, they hang from the ceiling and have like a second jaw. People were like, yeah, that's definitely a frontal lobe biter, including me. One version of the myth even said that if blood starts dripping from the ceiling, you're supposed to put on your mask or Mangle would like eat your frontal lobe. Okay, so both theories, or like hoaxes I guess, are persistent and weirdly specific and have absolutely zero canon confirmation. But they've stuck around for years because, hey, Scott never confirmed who actually did it, and silence in this fandom is just fuel. Okay, I'm gonna give this a B. Nah, actually A. I'm gonna give it an A. It has classic myth status. It was believable enough to spark endless debate, but yeah, it is totally fan-invented chaos, but it is a pretty good hoax, or theory, or whatever you want to call it, so yeah. Mike killed them all from reverse trailer audio, okay. So, some FNaF fans used to swear that if you reverse the FNaF 2 trailer audio, it said Mike killed all. This theory popped off in the early days, and people ran with it, like it was some cryptic confession from Scott. The idea is that Mike Schmidt, you know, the night guard from the first game, was actually the one who killed the kid. Not William, not Afton, Mike. Why? I guess because when you reverse a spooky trailer soundtrack and strain your ears really hard, it kind of sounds like those words if you're already expecting to hear them. But yeah, Scott didn't hide some secret satanic message in the trailer. It's literally just creepy ambience. Fans back in 2014 were grasping at straws, trying to decode everything like it was the Da Vinci Code or something. There's no evidence, no confirmation, not even a solid audio breakdown that proves this. Just a bunch of people that wanted something deeper than what was actually there, which to be fair is like 90% of the FNaF fandom. And yeah, I get that I'm kind of being like a fun killer right now, but I have to, okay? This is A though, it's iconic. It is old school as hell. and it can't be goated. We really got played. Adventure Withered Golden Freddy. So this hoax started because FNaF World did have most of the withered animatronics, except for Golden Freddy. Naturally, the fandom went, there's gotta be a way to unlock him, right? Cue fake renders, photoshopped heads floating in menus, and wild rumors like, if you 100% complete the game and don't die once, you unlock Adventure Withered Golden Freddy. None of it was real. The image that circulated was just a fan edit. Someone slapped together parts from Withered Freddy and colored them yellow, added the missing ear, and gave it black eyes. Bonus points for creativity, but that's about it. Also, apparently, some people said his head would fly across the screen and bite your cursor. Yeah, definitely not in the game. C tier. People wanted this one to be real, but it's just another missing character is a secret unlockable situation. It's not really that spooky either. It's FNaF World. Adventure Nightmare Mangle. Okay, so the rumor was that Nightmare Mangle secretly appeared in FNaF World as an adventure character. People claim they spotted her lurking in the background of one of the update images, specifically behind Springtrap and Puppet, kinda blocked by BB's balloon. Obviously, there's zero gameplay or file evidence of her being a real character. There is this hoax model, and I guess it does kinda look good, but yeah, I'm feeling C. It's cute, but also straight up nothing burger, not creepy, not convincing. It's a FNaF World hoax again. Beakless Sheikah. Alright, so here's the thing. People claim they saw a version of Sheikah in FNaF 1 without her beak. Not Toy Sheikah, not some fan edit, but the original Sheikah from FNaF 1. She's apparently just standing there beakless in the hallway or on the Celebrate poster, staring blankly with blacked out eyes. No jump scare and no explanation, just there. Kinda creepy, right? What's wild is that there's zero actual proof of this ever happening. Obviously, it's in this list. No screenshots, no gameplay clips, nothing in the files. But people say they remember it. Like, hardcore swear they saw it remember. It's pure Mandela effect feel. Probably someone got spooked by Sheikah mid-animation, or their brain just made it up at 3 AM on night 5, and the fandom ran with it. I would give it a C, but I'm moving it up a tier cause this hoax is actually a case of lost media, as the rumor is pretty much nowhere to be found online. It's also weirdly iconic, but yeah, it does feel like shared hallucinations, so B. Chrome Freddy. This is a certified 2015 classic. Chrome Freddy was one of those elaborate creepypasta hoaxes that came straight out of the golden era of FNaF secrets. YouTuber Jimbothy, just that Jimbothy, made a video explaining a ridiculous specific list of steps you had to do to summon Chrome Freddy in FNaF 3. We're talking mute the call, open specific cameras, enter button combos, complete a secret mangle minigame, reboot the whole system, go to night 4, click camera 3 times. Okay, like at this point you're summoning a demon. Of course, none of it was real, but that didn't stop people from trying it. Chrome Freddy even got fan-made models and ended up in FNaF 3 Deluxe Edition, which is kind of hilarious. So B, it's 100% fake, but the sheer effort in making it sound real, and the fact that it actually fooled people for a bit gives it some legendary status. Demon Springtrap. Okay, this one's just goofy. Demon Springtrap is part of a fake trio of animatronic hoaxes made by Communic Gaming during the Ultimate Custom Night era. The video tried to make it seem like you could unlock him with some secret method or code. But unlike Chrome Freddy or Sparky, this one didn't catch on at all. It was just too obviously fake. Like, people watched the video, saw through it immediately, and moved on. There's not even any fan art or expanded lore. It was mostly ignored or laughed at. If this hoax was trying to be the next big mystery, it didn't even get past the front gate. I'm gonna give it an F tier. It exists, technically, but no one believed it, no one cared, and it was forgotten almost instantly. If there was a D tier, I would put it there, but I'm gonna have to put it in F. Demonic Funtime Sheikah. This one's part of the same demonic animatronic hoax trio as Demon Springtrap, made by Communic Gaming during the UC and Hype era. The gimmick, well, I guess she has wings, devil horns, and red glowing eyes. Basically Funtime Sheikah but evil. It's just an edgy reskin, and it was clearly just for clickbait, and honestly not even good clickbait. Again, D if there was a D, but F tier. It's very forgettable. It's like seriously Funtime Chica. Okay. Emerald Freddy. Now this one's got some legacy to it. Emerald Freddy is like the shiny Pokemon version of Golden Freddy. Literally just a green recolor with extra fanfic sauce. The idea was that he appeared across FNaF 1, 2, 4, World, Security Breach, and even bricked your PC when he jump scared you. Like not crash your game, he bricked your actual PC, as if Scott coded in a BIOS nuke for a green pair jump scare. This hoax should have been a throwaway edit, but it somehow caught fire on Twitter and YouTube. Some people swore they saw him mid-game. Others claimed he warped reality when he showed up. Honestly, the design's clean, it's pretty memorable, and the lore is garbage, but the cult following gives it some weight. So I'm gonna give it an A tier. It's surprisingly iconic for a glorified recolor. Still fake as hell, but it's got some flair. Flip Trap. Flip Trap, the one and only security breach hoax that somehow made people lose their minds during the 2021 hype era. He was pitched as a post-Pizzeria simulator evolution of Scrap Trap, except now he's rocking a nightmare animatronic arm and haunting the flip side, like a digital ghost version of William Afton, who survived fire and also logic. The design itself is actually kind of creepy. It's just a busted spring Bonnie torso with Frankenstein parts stapled on. But what really sold this hoax was timing. The FNaF community was in a frenzy over security breach, so when this nightmare-fueled versions of Afton popped up in a blurry screenshot, people just ran with it. No one questioned why this digital spirit had a nightmare arm or how he escaped deletion. They just thought it was lore now. It's got that perfect blend of edgy fan creation and early hype hysteria, which makes it oddly iconic, even if it was totally made up. B. Pure chaos bait, but it feels believable enough that people wanted it to be real. Actually, I think you can tell with this being B and Emerald Freddy being A, that I am biased when it comes to the older hoaxes, but this one's still good. The best security breach one by far. It's just, this is my ranking, like, you can't do anything about it. Golden Foxy. Okay, this one's kind of nostalgic. Back when Scott dropped that crusty half-lit teaser image for FNaF 3, showing what we know now as Springtrap, the fandom went full clown mode trying to figure out who it was. Some people swore it was a new Freddy, others said it was some new suit entirely, but then came the Golden Foxy crowd. Basically, people looked at the decayed animatronic and went, what if that's Foxy, but golden? Which, first of all, why would Foxy be golden? No one could explain that. Second, they somehow linked it to the idea that Foxy finally got a suit, even though Springtrap clearly has bunny ear and like zero pirate vibe. The theory fell apart the second more images dropped, but it didn't stop people from pumping out fan edits, sightings, and videos declaring Golden Foxy was real. It's one of those hoaxes that didn't age well, but it made sense in the moment. The FNaF 3 era was pure chaos. I'm gonna give it a B. It's a dumb theory, but it captured that early FNaF paranoia energy perfectly. Fred Trap or Salvage. Now this was one of the earliest, most widespread cases of fandom seeing what they want to see. So back in the pre-release days of FNaF 3, Scott dropped that teaser image that I was talking about that only showed a sliver of Springtrap's face, right? And just from that one shadowy piece of metal, people started losing it. The community convinced itself this wasn't Springtrap, but some kind of damaged, resurrected Fredbear, dubbed Fred Trap or Salvage. The edit that really kicked things off was when someone mirrored the teaser image to form a full animatronic head. That image got passed around everywhere and people started crafting lore around it, saying Fredbear was coming back, that he'd been salvaged by the company, and even tying it to the Bite of 83 theories. Of course, once the game dropped and Springtrap was just, well, Springtrap, the theory died. But man, during those weeks, Fred Trap was practically canon to some fans. It's B tier, it shows how wild the fandom's imagination can get from just one teaser. Honestly, kind of iconic, it does belong there with Golden Foxy. Funtime Chica. Alright, so this one's a sister location hoax. Before Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Simulator dropped, Funtime Chica was kinda like the phantom limb of the sister location animatronic crew. There were fake Scott Cawthon teasers floating around, claiming she'd be part of the game. She even had a supposed backstory, part of Chica's party world, with Funtime Bonnie and Lolbit, which fans thought explained why she wasn't in the main cast. And when Sister Location launched without her, well, people were convinced she was scrapped content or a secret animatronic. Some even thought the spring-lock suit you could climb into on night 4 was hers. But Scott never confirmed any of that. It wasn't until FNaF 6 that she actually got introduced for real, retroactively making the original theory a hoax. So B. It turned out to be half right in the long run, but back then it was pure fan speculation dressed up like a leak. Still, props to the fandom for accidentally predicting her eventual return. Golden Balloon Boy. Okay, this one's just straight up trolling, and honestly, it's kinda hilarious. Golden Balloon Boy was an April Fool's Day hoax from 2024 cooked up by a bunch of FNaF YouTubers like Dawko and Puggo's Pizzeria. The claim, well, that if you completed 1020 mode 10 times in a row without dying, which is already insane, he'd appear under your desk. He was described as just a golden and black version of Balloon Boy, and yeah, that's literally it. C tier. It's clearly a prank and no one really believed it, but it still deserves a little nod for being part of the fandom's tradition of trolling itself. And it's a pretty recent hoax too, so yeah. Fixed animatronics, or the unwithered crew, I guess. This one's interesting because it kind of blurs the line between hoax and fan-made content. Most of the fixed or unwithered animatronics are just fan designs showing what the characters might have looked like before they got destroyed, especially the FNaF 2 Withered. They're not meant to fool people except for one case, Unwithered Bonnie, who was actually passed off as real during the FNaF 3 teaser phase and even shown in fake leaks. What's cool is that this fan concept became so widespread, it's now part of the visual language of the fandom, even though canonically the pre-withered designs are just a classic animatronics retrofitted. Still, people love seeing on Scraptrap, Unnightmare Gang, and Unmolten Freddy and cool fan art and animations. So I would give it a B. It's not a real hoax outside of like the Unwithered Bonnie hoax from like FNaF 3, but the whole category is super recognizable and influential in fan circles. It's basically aesthetic headcanon. Nightmare Toy Animatronic. This one is more of a visual fan concept than a fleshed out hoax. The idea of nightmare versions of the FNaF 2 toy animatronics, like Nightmare Toy Bonnie, is a natural evolution from FNaF 4's aesthetic, obviously, and because there are nightmare versions of older characters, it made sense for fans to fill in the blanks. But unlike other hoaxes, there's no elaborate story that I could find, or any teaser, or fake game footage to back it up. It's just kind of edgy redesigns. Some were passed around as leaked images during the FNaF World or Help Wanted era, but nothing really stuck. So I'm gonna give it a C tier. They look cool and the designs are everywhere in fan games and animations, but they're more fan headcanon than convincing hoaxes. Okay, now we have the Phantom Toy Trio. So kinda similar to the last entry, these 3 hoaxes popped up almost instantly after FNaF 3 dropped. Because the game already had phantom versions of older animatronics, fans assumed toy versions would be next. The theory stuck around just long enough to confuse players, especially with how glitchy FNaF 3 was at launch. But they were quickly debunked by data miners, so I'm gonna give it a B. They weren't super convincing, but they were widespread and feel like they could have happened, you know, compared to freaking Nightmare Toy Freddy, which made them fun bait for theories and clickbait thumbnails. Scott Cawthon fake accounts. So this one is pure internet chaos. Back when Scott Cawthon's real face wasn't widely known, fake accounts started popping up pretending to be him. These fake Scotts would drop supposed FNaF 3 leaks, teasers, and even edited images claiming to be from future games. Some even used photos of random guys labeled as Scott Cawthon confirmed face reveal. Yeah, this guy. It led to mass confusion in forums like Reddit and Steam, especially when fans were desperate for lore crumbs or new game updates. Some of the more infamous fake leaks came from these accounts. Yeah, I would give this an A tier. Not only did it stir up the community big time, but it also shaped how cautious people became with future FNaF leaks. It's one of the most iconic examples of how not to trust the internet during a FNaF reveal cycle. Speculation Nightmare Chica. Alright, before the official FNaF 4 teasers dropped, fans were running wild trying to guess which twisted animatronic were coming next. One of the most popular fake reveals was a fan-made image of Nightmare Chica, created by Pixel Diaz on DeviantArt. It looked legit enough to fool people, especially since it dropped during a time when Scott was being cryptic as usual. To make it more believable, people even made up mechanics for her, like a minigame where she'd show up at 4 AM and you'd have to close the right door based on sound cues. All fake of course, but the image was creepy enough that a lot of fans believed it was a teaser. So I would give it like a B, maybe even a B+. The design was solid, and the fake mechanic actually felt like something Scott would pull. It's a fun hoax that added to the FNaF 4 hype, even if it didn't make it into the game. And now we have speculation Nightmare Foxy. So this one's from that same fever dream era before FNaF 4 teasers dropped, when the community was just filling in the blanks themselves. Before the actual Nightmare Foxy was revealed, fans imagined their own version. Some made fan renders, others made up full mechanics. One popular fake had him turning off the lights in your office, forcing you to frantically search for a spare light bulb with your flashlight, or else you would get jump scared. Was any of this real? Nope, but it totally felt like something Scott would do, especially with how unpredictable FNaF 4 ended up being. So I would give it a B tier too. It's not as memorable as the fake Nightmare Chica reveal, but it gets points for creativity and how it fed the hype. Solid hoax, decent fake mechanics, but didn't stick around in the fandom's brain as long. Okay, that's Static Guy. Now, this is one of those weirdly neat hoaxes that only a specific corner of the fandom remembered. That Static Guy came from a video called Five Nights at Freddy's Mysterious Purple Fig, uploaded by Epic Surfing Vids, yeah. And it was basically a spooky silhouette that would slowly fade into view on floor 2 the more you watch the camera. The kicker? If he fully materialized, he would disable your flashlight on that floor for 2 whole in-game hours. Which sounds awful if it were real, but obviously it wasn't. It was just some creepypasta style fan content that spiraled into theory territory. I would give it a B. It's obscure, but it is creative. The mechanic was actually kind of cool, and the atmosphere around it was eerie enough to stick with some people, including me. Not super influential, but definitely worth a shout out, so yeah. Sugar the Cat. This one's got a messy legacy. So Sugar the Cat was basically a stolen version of Candy the Cat from the Five Nights at Candy's fan game. She showed up in early builds of the Return to Freddy's, which was originally pitched as a fan-made FNaF 3, before it had to be rebranded due to all the copyright issues. The character design is literally just Candy with a recolor and reused jump scare animation. What makes this hoax interesting is that many players thought Sugar was an official scrapped animatronic or some kind of obscure Scott-approved edition, when in reality she was the product of fan game drama and stolen assets. I would give it like a B or C. I'm gonna give it a B. More infamous than legendary, but still a good example of how copyright confusion can spawn fake lore that sticks around way longer than it should have. Alright, so Withered Mangle. This hoax spun out of the hype leading up to FNaF 3 when Scott posted that infamous teaser of a box full of animatronic parts. Fans immediately assumed the toy animatronics would come back in some broken down, withered form, including Mangle, who, let's be honest, was already beyond withered. What made this stick was that it felt plausible and was even partially fulfilled later when Special Delivery dropped a Mangle skin that echoed some of the fan interpretations back then. But it was never canon to begin with. I'm gonna give it a B, because it's one of those hoaxes that didn't feel far-fetched and got cemented in fan memory, even if it never had any real basis in the games. Fans practically willed it into existence. Okay, there was also the same rumor for Toy Bonnie and Toy Chica and Toy Freddy. Like Withered Toy Bonnie, Since it's Toy Bonnie, I'm gonna put it in C tier, cause yeah, Toy Bonnie is nowhere near Mangle's level. Withered Toy Chica could go in C tier too, and Withered Toy Freddy, F tier. Alright, this is the final tier list ranking. Well, as you could tell during this video, I'm going through my 148th FNaF phase, and I plan on making more FNaF vids like this. Next video is probably going to be an iceberg that I made from scratch, and I've been working on and researching, like way different than this video, right? But I want you guys to let me know if you guys want me to do the same ranking, but instead of hoaxes, it's theories, and I explain them more in depth. Anyway, see you in the next video. Peace.